Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner.
Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. From PJ Media. Okay, hold everything. Tucker Carlson wasn't fired. Says I'm still employed by Fox. Yeah, it's, technically that's probably true. I think, what was his contract? $10 million a year? What does that come out? $200,000 odd money a week? A little fun fact before we get in the article, checking on Tucker Carlson and maybe some of his background personally and like that. His mother, Tucker's mother, is a Swanson. She's the heir to the Swanson frozen food empire. So even without Fox, he'll be fine. I'm sure he's invested his money. I'm sure he's done a lot of things. He just recently bought a home for over $5 million in Florida. Personally, Tucker will be fine. Financially, personally, emotionally, all that good stuff. But will the country be better off? That's the real question. Let's read on. Fox firing of the most watched host on cable news, Tucker Carlson, is still roiling leftists and patriots alike. But now Carlson himself has said he didn't actually happen at all. They just took him off the air. In a text message to the news analyst site 1945, Carlson said flatly, "I'm still employed by Fox. This doesn't mean, however, that all is forgiven and that his show will be back on the air Monday. On the contrary, it could hinder Carlson's plans to make truth-telling elsewhere." And that's part of the point. If they got rid of Tucker because of stuff you're going to read later about the voting machine company, which I can't say because it'll screw up the algorithm, some of the things concerning the 2020 election that he believed and didn't believe, he likes Trump, he hates Trump, all the other things. One lady's a producer is suing him for all kinds of violations, even though she never met him, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But if they stop Carlson in the future from appearing on any other show, his own, he can put together or be employed by anybody else, then you know it was to silence him on things he was saying on the air. Now, would that hurt Fox, him working for somebody else? Well, yeah, indirectly, because they would lose a lot of subscribers to Fox Nation and just viewers, which people say, well, what difference does that make? Well, when you go to charge for advertising, the key demo, I think what is it, 25 or 20 to 45 or 20 to 40, whatever the heck it is, you can charge a lot more money for ads when you have a much bigger audience. And that, of course, is revenue. Or is this just the beginning? I shouldn't say the beginning. It's been going on for a while, but this is the first big step in the changing of the guard, so to speak, as far as media goes, news media. The mainstream media is dying, and that's because of the internet. We get guys like Tim Pool and Joe Rogan, and the list goes on, that are getting millions and millions of views. There's some Tim Pool videos that get more hits and views than CNN does. It's the changing of the guard. It's been coming on for a long time. Maybe they're putting Fox News up for sale. Who's to say? Let's read on. Tucker Carlson hasn't actually been fired. He's still an employee of Fox News Channel. What happened was Suzanne Scott called him, she's the CEO, on Monday morning and said, he was not going to be allowed to do any more shows. And they had been kicked out of his company email, and now they're going to have to negotiate an exit. Yeah, that's the thing. I believe his contract runs through the end of next year. How convenient. And that's through the presidential election. Some reporting to me suggests that she said it's going to be an amicable parting. Right, isn't it? That would be nice, but Scott's own behavior, if Kelly's report is accurate, makes it more unlikely. Here's Kelly here. Megyn Kelly, she used to be on Fox News. She left. It was probably the best for both Fox and for Megyn Kelly. Even though I have to say I'm an upstate New York boy, and Megyn Kelly's from upstate New York, so I got to give her a little bit of kudos for that. Former top news host and insider Megyn Kelly reveals Tucker was not actually fired from Fox yet. This is what's really happening, and I'm going to go in the video. If Tucker Carlson host had so perpetually told he wasn't going to be allowed any more shows and couldn't even access his company email, he couldn't say a proper farewell either to those who watched the show or his staff. This was an odd way for Susan Scott and Fox to treat their principal attraction. It doesn't seem likely that it would allow for a friendly separation. Of course, stranger things have happened. I think it's going to depend how much money Fox loses from lack of viewership. My understanding, they fell below CNN in a couple of spots. Out of the top 10 news shows on cable news, I believe Fox had 8 or 9 of them out of the top 10. So is it going to cost them a lot more money for the advertising revenue? I don't know. I don't know what they bring in. And it's so often the case in incidents of dismissal or rejection of a strong patriotic voice, it gets worse. Kelly continued that all this was completely catching Tucker off guard. But Tucker's not fired, that's my information. This doesn't mean he's going to land on some new show at Fox or elsewhere on the network. It just means he might not find it easy to go anywhere else, and that's the catch. If they muzzle him through the end of next year, which I believe his contract runs through, then you know it's not about Fox saving their own behinds. It's about censorship of a very popular and well-watched news anchor. I'll call him a news anchor for lack of a term from the old days. That he still needs to negotiate to exit, and that right now he's not free to launch a podcast or a digital show or negotiate with other employers at all because he's still under contract. So Fox could conceivably muzzle Carlson and prevent him from going anywhere else. The network would simply pay him to do nothing. That would depend, however, on Fox having any funds to pay him with, and it continues to lose viewers at the rate he's been losing them since it Deep Six Carlson's show. It might find it more profitable to release him from his contract rather than silence him, whether out of spite or out of desire to please the lesser's establishment. They had such huge ratings, and I don't think they're leaning towards the leftists or we'll say moderate views of viewers was really what was for more viewership. I believe there's something going on at Fox News. There's a rot there as far as Republican conservative values and the way you look at things. There's a rot going on. My gut tells me that Fox News is up for sale. It's just not official yet. Now, why would they cause turmoil in their own company and then put it up for sale? It's a mystery to me. None of this makes any sense. And these are smart people. These are smart people that run these shows, these networks. Granted, you might not like what they do, but they're not stupid. They couldn't have been this successful. Now, maybe Rupert Murdoch, or not Rupert Murdoch, but the head of Fox, says, he started from nothing and put all the investors together and all that, and the sons aren't really the brains. They just inherit everything. Maybe that's true. But there's so many people that work in the company that have the owner's ears. I just don't understand. It's not what they did, it's how they did it that I don't get. And although he tried to find out why he got fired, they wouldn't tell him. They refused to tell him why. I mean, to me, that's so disheartening. He's been at the company for years. He's been in the prime time 7 years and saw Fox through one of the most difficult times in its history, the immediate era Roger Ailes, where they really don't know left from right. They didn't know up from down. They really didn't have strong management leading the company, and they had lost 2 of its biggest stars, Bill O'Reilly and me. Now, it's a little self-aggrandizing, but nonetheless point taken. Where were Fox executives so hostile to Carlson when they should have been grateful? The question remains unanswered. I don't think it has to do with the voting machine company payout, even though $787 million is about half of what they asked. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to expose things. They didn't want to expose emails. They didn't want to expose texts and discovery during the lawsuit. And they took a chance that it's easier to pay the $787 million than to go through all of that and maybe pay more. And their brand is really, really taking a hit. It's, why did they do it? Why did they do it? Tucker Carlson told in 1945 that it would be hard to prove. Rupert Murdoch wasn't comfortable with religiosity, in other words, religion, in his address to the Heritage Foundation, which he did over the weekend before he got fired. And that little talk he made to Heritage is getting tens of millions of views. Carlson was livid that Fox executives refused to protect him from the blowback from the election company suit because he had not been a driving force in the false coverage. The bottom line, few really know, and those who know aren't telling. Will Fox let Tucker Carlson go and establish himself somewhere else, or will the network force him into silence for the remainder of his contract? That's the thing. Will they force him into going to the end of next year, is my understanding. A third possibility would for Carlson to find some way to honor the contract while speaking out on current events at the same time. The nation is watching, just not watching Fox. I stopped watching Fox. I got to tell you the truth. It's long before this. I stopped watching Fox. The only things I watch now on Fox News were Tucker Carlson and Greg Gutfeld. Greg Gutfeld, when he started his nighttime show, which is hysterical, by the way, it's awesome. Those guys are freaking, you're just funny people. They got great writers. It's a great show. He went 3 or 4 weeks when he premiered his show, Greg Gutfeld, and became #1 in late night instantly. Now, considering what's on late night, it's a pretty low bar, but it's still very impressive. Tucker Carlson, by far, was #1 in prime time. Not even close. Not even close. Well, some advertisers were boycotting his show because of this and that nonsense. They're lining up. These businesses, they advertise on his show because it brings them huge amounts of revenue. So let's just cut through the crap before we out drowning it. And the ones that did say no because they don't like Tucker, they weren't doing that great to begin with. So it's not that. So their revenue is taking a huge hit. I have absolutely no question. I mean, if I signed a contract, say, for a month worth of ads for a week worth of ads for Tucker Carlson tonight, or at least that time slot, and I saw that Tucker's gone, I'm going to say, wait a minute. I paid a premium for advertising because Tucker, and now he's not there. I want to cut my rate, or I want a refund. And who knows what's going on behind the scenes. There's so many moving parts to this. But to me, it comes down to one thing. Will they release Tucker from his contract if he wants to leave? Or will they silence him through the end of next year? If they silence him through the end of next year, then it's not about money. It's about censorship. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.